Melania Trump has just thrown gasoline on a media firestorm, and what started as a controversy over a late-night joke has now exploded into a full-scale celebrity and political showdown that has people in Hollywood, Washington, and social media all asking the same question: could Jimmy Kimmel actually lose his job this time? The drama took a shocking turn when Melania Trump, in one of her rare direct public interventions, reportedly called on ABC to fire Jimmy Kimmel, reigniting outrage tied to a controversy that many believed had faded months ago. But instead of fading away, this story has come roaring back, bigger, louder, and much messier. It all centers around a joke that detonated on. Melania Trump has just thrown gasoline on a media firestorm, and what started as a controversy over a late-night joke has now exploded into a full-scale celebrity and political showdown that has people in Hollywood, Washington, and social media all asking the same question: could Jimmy Kimmel actually lose his job this time? The drama took a shocking turn when Melania Trump, in one of her rare direct public interventions, reportedly called on ABC to fire Jimmy Kimmel, reigniting outrage tied to a controversy that many believed had faded months ago. But instead of fading away, this story has come roaring back, bigger, louder, and much messier. It all centers around a joke that detonated online almost instantly. During a satirical monologue that was supposed to be classic late-night roasting, Jimmy Kimmel made a cutting remark about Melania Trump that critics called cruel, supporters called comedy, and everyone else called explosive. The line spread across social media within hours, and what might have been another late-night controversy suddenly became something far more serious when backlash poured in from political figures, celebrity commentators, and viewers who said this crossed a line. Then came the bombshell. Melania Trump did something she almost never does. She stepped directly into the public fight. Her response was not subtle. It was sharp, emotional, and deliberate. She condemned the joke, framed it as dangerous rhetoric, and reportedly urged ABC to take action against Kimmel. For many viewers, that alone changed the stakes. This was no longer just another comedian versus politician feud. This was now Melania herself taking center stage in one of the most talked about entertainment controversies of the year. And when Donald Trump entered the story, everything escalated. The former president reportedly backed Melania's call, blasting Kimmel and accusing the network of protecting what he described as repeated attacks disguised as comedy. Suddenly, this wasn't just celebrity news. It became political warfare mixed with Hollywood scandal, and those are exactly the stories that tend to explode the fastest. What makes this even more dramatic is the history. This isn't happening in a vacuum. Jimmy Kimmel and Donald Trump have spent years taking shots at each other. Monologues turned into headlines, headlines turned into feuds, feuds turned into ratings moments. But Melania entering the battle introduced a completely different tone. It felt personal, it felt serious, and for many viewers, it felt unprecedented. Then critics began revisiting Kimmel's suspension from 7 months earlier, dragging old controversies right back into the spotlight. People started asking whether the earlier suspension had really solved anything, or whether it had only delayed another bigger crisis. Suddenly, old clips resurfaced, past jokes were reanalyzed, and the internet started building a much larger case around Kimmel's pattern of controversy. Supporters of Melania argued this was about accountability. They claimed comedians shouldn't be able to hide behind satire when comments become vicious. Critics of Melania pushed back just as hard, warning that calling for a comedian to be fired over political jokes threatens free expression. That clash turned this into more than gossip. It became part of a much larger culture war. And social media did what social media always does. It poured fuel on everything. Hashtags exploded, viral reaction videos flooded feeds, commentators picked sides, celebrity gossip channels dissected every angle. Political influencers treated it like a national scandal. Entertainment blogs framed it as a battle for the future of late-night television. Some reactions were emotional and dramatic. Some viewers praised Melania for finally speaking out. Others accused her of trying to silence criticism. Some demanded ABC act immediately. Others said firing Kimmel would be absurd. But what made the story so magnetic was the intensity. Everyone seemed to have an opinion, and every opinion made the controversy burn hotter. And then people started focusing on ABC, because suddenly the big question wasn't just what Melania said or what Kimmel joked about, it was what ABC would do. Would the network stand by its star host? Would it issue a statement? Could advertisers get nervous? Could pressure build behind the scenes? Every possibility created another layer of suspense. Insiders began speculating whether Disney executives might be forced into difficult conversations. Even rumors of internal discomfort became headlines. Whether confirmed or not, the idea that executives might be scrambling behind closed doors added an irresistible layer of drama. Viewers love scandal, but they especially love scandal when corporate power enters the picture. Meanwhile, Jimmy Kimmel wasn't exactly retreating quietly. Reports suggested he defended the joke as satire and rejected claims that it was meant the way critics portrayed it. And that only inflamed reactions further, because in scandals like this, apology often cools things down. Defiance tends to blow things up.
Suddenly, the story wasn't just about whether a joke went too far. It became about whether Jimmy Kimmel was doubling down. And for critics, that made everything worse. For supporters, it made him look unshaken. Either way, it kept the controversy alive. And let's talk about the timing, because timing has made this even more explosive. This is happening at a moment when late-night television is already under pressure. Ratings battles, political polarization, questions about whether hosts are comedians or activists. This controversy landed right in the center of those debates, making it feel much bigger than one feud. Many analysts began framing this as a symbolic showdown over the boundaries of comedy itself. Where does satire end and personal attack begin? Who decides? Networks? Audiences? Advertisers? Politicians? Those questions turned what could have been tabloid gossip into a much larger national conversation. But celebrity drama thrives on personality, and this story has giant personalities colliding. Jimmy Kimmel, one of the most outspoken late-night hosts, Donald Trump, never one to ignore a public fight, and Melania Trump, whose rare public intervention made this feel especially dramatic. It was almost designed to dominate headlines. And viewers unfamiliar with the deeper history suddenly found themselves catching up on years of tension. People revisited old Trump-Kimmel clashes, past monologue jabs, social media insults, even moments where Trump allies had criticized late-night television broadly. Everything became part of one giant unfolding narrative. Then came another layer, celebrity reactions. Some voices in entertainment quietly defended Kimmel's right to satirize public figures. Others suggested the joke may have been too personal. Even vague comments from public figures were being interpreted as taking sides. In controversies this heated, silence can even be treated as a statement. One reason this story hits so hard is because it blends so many irresistible ingredients at once: politics, celebrity, comedy, power, outrage, and the possibility of career consequences. That combination is media gold. It keeps audiences watching because every day feels like there could be another twist. And people began asking whether this could become a repeat of earlier media firestorms, where public outrage snowballed into sponsor pressure. Once that possibility enters the conversation, the stakes feel much bigger. Even rumors about advertisers paying attention can become a story. But what may have shocked viewers most was Melania's tone. Many people see her as reserved, distant from public fights, almost above the chaos. So hearing her reportedly use such forceful language startled even longtime political observers. That made headlines in itself. It wasn't just what she said, it was that she said it. And in celebrity controversies, unexpected behavior always drives fascination. When someone usually quiet suddenly goes on offense, audiences pay attention. It feels revealing. It feels dramatic. It feels like something important pushed them over the edge. Then attention shifted to whether Jimmy Kimmel might address Melania directly on air. That possibility alone had fans speculating wildly. Would he mock the controversy? Would he respond seriously? Would he ignore it? Every possibility felt like it could trigger another media earthquake.
And if there's one thing viewers know, it's that feuds involving late-night hosts rarely stay confined to one episode. They evolve, they escalate, they mutate. One joke leads to backlash, backlash leads to response, response leads to bigger backlash. That cycle is what keeps stories like this alive. There's also the question of image. For Melania, speaking out may reinforce a tougher public persona. For Trump supporters, it may energize grievances against media elites. For Kimmel supporters, defending him may become a defense of comedic freedom. Everyone has something symbolic at stake. That's why this controversy feels larger than entertainment gossip. It's become a mirror reflecting broader divisions, and stories that tap into broader divisions tend to dominate far longer than ordinary celebrity drama. Some commentators even argued this could influence how late-night writers approach political jokes moving forward. Will hosts self-censor, push harder, ignore outrage altogether? Whether or not that happens, the debate itself has become part of the spectacle. And let's be honest, scandal always grows through speculation. Could ABC issue discipline? Could this hurt Kimmel's future? Could this actually increase ratings? In Hollywood, controversy sometimes damages careers and sometimes supercharges them. That unpredictability makes everyone keep watching. Another fascinating part of the story is how different audiences see completely different villains and heroes. To some, Melania is standing up against cruelty. To others, Kimmel is standing up against political intimidation. That split perception makes consensus impossible and controversy endless. Even people who don't watch late-night television suddenly care because the feud has crossed into celebrity mega-drama territory. Once a story escapes its original audience and becomes mainstream spectacle, it takes on a life of its own. And there's something undeniably theatrical about the idea of a former First Lady demanding the firing of a late-night comedian. It sounds almost too dramatic to be real, which is exactly why audiences can't stop talking about it. Some observers believe this may deepen tensions between conservative audiences and legacy entertainment networks. Others think it's another cycle of outrage that will eventually fade. But right now, neither side looks ready to let it fade. And every time new commentary surfaces, the story gets revived again. One quote reignites debate. One segment creates another round of headlines. One viral post sends the controversy roaring back into timelines. That's how modern scandals survive. Meanwhile, fans of celebrity feuds have been comparing this clash to historic entertainment rivalries where public pressure collided with network politics. Those comparisons may be dramatic, but they show how huge this feels in the public imagination. What also fascinates people is whether this was inevitable. Given years of hostility, was this blow-up always coming? Was it only a matter of time before one joke triggered something bigger? Many think so. And if that's true, this may not be the climax at all. It may be the beginning of an even larger confrontation. That possibility is what keeps viewers glued. Because imagine if Kimmel responds with another joke. Imagine if Melania responds again. Imagine if Trump turns it into a campaign issue. Each possibility sounds like a headline waiting to happen. Some media personalities have suggested controversy like this actually benefits everyone involved through attention alone. More headlines, more ratings, more engagement, more political energy. That cynical view may bother people, but it also reflects how celebrity media ecosystems often work. Still, many viewers feel there's something more personal here. They see genuine anger, genuine offense, genuine resentment built over years. That emotional dimension makes the story feel more than strategic theater. And the internet has not stopped analyzing every nuance: tone of voice, wording of statements, timing of posts, silence from executives. Even what wasn't said has become part of the drama. At this point, the controversy has become almost serialized entertainment. Every development feels like another episode. Audiences come back waiting for the next reveal. And perhaps that's why this story has exploded so much, because it combines unpredictability with recognizable characters. People know these names, they know the history, they understand the stakes. That makes the drama easy to follow and hard to ignore. There's also something almost symbolic about this coming 7 months after Kimmel's suspension. That timeline has become part of the story itself. Critics frame it as proof nothing changed. Supporters frame it as recycled outrage. Either way, 7 months later, the ghosts of old controversy are suddenly alive again. And when old controversies merge with fresh outrage, stories can spiral fast. That's exactly what happened here. What happens next may depend on who blinks first. ABC, Kimmel, Melania, Trump, or maybe no one blinks and the feud keeps escalating. Right now, every option feels possible. Some viewers are convinced the network will stand by Kimmel no matter what. Others believe pressure could build in ways the public can't see. Those unknowns keep suspense alive. And regardless of where people stand politically, many agree this has become one of the wildest celebrity media clashes in recent memory. It has everything: outrage, power, ego, unpredictability, and the possibility of dramatic consequences. The biggest question may be whether this controversy changes anything or simply becomes another legendary feud chapter. Sometimes scandals vanish, sometimes they alter careers. Nobody knows yet which this will be. But if history is any guide, stories involving Trump, television, and public outrage rarely end quietly. They tend to twist, they tend to escalate, they tend to surprise. Which is why people are watching so closely right now. Will Jimmy Kimmel laugh this off? Will ABC make a move? Will Melania push harder? Will this spark even bigger media battles? Those questions are keeping this story alive by the hour. And maybe that's the biggest reason this has exploded, because it feels unfinished. It feels like another shoe could drop at any moment. That sense of unfinished drama is irresistible. Because in the world of celebrity scandal, the stories people obsess over most are never the ones that feel settled. They're the ones where the next twist could arrive tomorrow. And this story feels exactly like that. It feels like the kind of feud that could keep mutating for weeks. It feels like the kind of controversy networks hate. It feels like the kind of showdown audiences can't stop watching. And that is why everyone is still talking about Melania Trump, Jimmy Kimmel, ABC, and whether this battle is only just beginning. If you think this controversy could get even bigger, let me know in the comments whether ABC should stand by Jimmy Kimmel or whether Melania Trump is right to demand consequences. And if you want more explosive celebrity updates, political drama, and stories Hollywood doesn't want ignored, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.